Water and sanitation have always intrigued me as development challenges, but also as opportunities to deliver impact and to do so through enterprises as well as through investment. I personally have viewed water and sanitation, particularly from the lens of enabling urbanization in Kenya and other African countries, and viewed access to water and access to sanitation as really being necessary across economic spectrum for poor and rich, and in this context, the work that Open Capital has done, working with water service providers both in urban and rural contexts, certainly has provided opportunities for myself and colleagues to really feel part of delivery of solutions to these challenges.
Water, sanitation and hygiene, commonly known as WASH, is one of the most important and challenging sectors in sub-Saharan Africa and across the world. However, it's a sector where private sector participation hasn't been as much. Looking at Africa's trajectory, especially the fast urbanization, it's definitely a sector that we can't ignore and needs to be paid a lot more attention. Looking at also the impact that it has in other sectors, looking at, for example, gender. It has a lot of women and children spend a lot of time walking for many miles going to fetch water. This takes away from other activities that they could be doing. So this could be whether it's income generating activities, whether it's the kids the children spending time, for example, reading, which could be solved all by increasing service provision. And then looking at also health, without proper water and sanitation services, there are a lot of health issues that come up, and obviously the big topic that everyone has been talking about, which is climate change, looking at the water resources that are quickly depleting.
I personally have had the good fortune to serve on boards of urban water utilities in Kenya. Through that have had unique opportunities from within to see the challenges that these organizations face, but also the opportunity for organizations such as Open Capital and others to be of service to these organizations in helping them address their capacity needs, but also fulfill their resource requirements to finance projects and service delivery.
The gap is huge, it's enormous. And looking at some of the SDG goals, looking at SDG 6 for water and sanitation, the goal is 100% universal access. However, if we look at different sub-Saharan African countries, it's quite a long way far off. So for example, for Kenya, if you look at water coverage, it's roughly at 50%, and then when you look at sanitation, that's even a lot lower at 15%. And looking at the amount that's needed, it's 17 billion USD that's needed to, one, rehabilitate existing infrastructure, and two, also looking at expansion. At OCA specifically, we've completed more than 150 engagements to date, working with the most innovative and scalable ecosystem players and solutions. So ranging all the way from working with innovative donors, innovative investors and development partners, looking at water utilities, both private and public. We do see that it's quite different in different countries. Some countries, the public water utilities are providing the most services in terms of water and sanitation provision, while for some countries we do see that private water utilities are actually taking up the largest percentage of that. And finally, looking at the entire environment and ecosystem to make sure that whoever is working in this ecosystem, there's a conducive business environment. We do need different regulators and other ecosystem players just to make sure that there's a conducive business environment. For myself, what got me interested in the wash sector specifically is quite a few years back working with 3 private operators in Uganda, and specifically rural Western Uganda. So you could see that these private water operators were set up by a development partner, but once this development partner was able to finish the project, they did need to ensure that it was sustainable and scalable going forward. So we came in, looked at their operations, ranging all the way from how could they improve their revenues, how could they reduce their costs, what management models make sense once this development partner finished that particular phase of the program, and we're able to sit down, work closely with the management teams of the different private operators, look at areas they could increase revenue, look at areas they could reduce costs. For example, looking at some of the mechanisms that they could use, maybe like, for example, solar pumps instead of using diesel, which was quite a large percentage of their cost. And finally, being able to roll down and really break down the different management models that they could look at, so that those clear policies and procedures on how to run the entity going forward.
So looking into the future, Open Capital looks forward to remaining relevant as a service provider to a range of actors in the wash sector, from innovative companies that are developing solutions, whether those solutions are products or services, to address access to water and sanitation, to investors that are looking to place and deploy capital towards these challenges and opportunities, and ultimately looking to realize not just financial returns, but impact returns as well. But also looking to really improve the enabling environment and supporting regulators and other market actors to provide wider opportunities for players in this space. Not forgetting the consumers, who ultimately are the parties that deserve the product that we're looking to enhance delivery of.